In this video, I'm going to talk about how to use EFT tapping to heal any life issue or problem that you have in your life. This will include the step-by-step process that you would normally only learn in a formal EFT training. Healing the issues in your life will make your life dramatically better, and this is so possible using the power of EFT. My name is Stefan Gonick. I'm an expert EFT practitioner and trainer at EFTalive.com. So what do I mean by a life issue? So a life issue is a difficulty that you have that shows up in certain situations throughout your life. It can feel like it's just part of who you are, part of your personality. So for instance, examples would be things like having a hard time standing up for yourself and having good boundaries. So anytime you encounter a situation where you need to be able to stand up for yourself and have a boundary, say, this is not okay with me, maybe it's really, really hard for you to do that. So it's an ongoing difficulty in your life in that situation. Another example would be struggling with low self-esteem, right? And having low self-esteem could affect all sorts of things in your life, but that is the life issue. I have low self-esteem, low self-confidence, something like that. A third one might be something like I have an issue with anger. So I get angry really easily, or I might get very intimidated by somebody else who's being angry at me. Sort of two opposites in that case. So these are just three examples of life issues. A more complicated example would be, you're trying to start a business and you're feeling blocked in certain parts of the process. Certain parts, no problem, and then other parts, you just can't seem to get yourself to do them, or you tend to sabotage yourself. So we're going to come back to that one. That was a little bit more complicated. But the first three examples were, very straightforward kinds of things that could be impacting your life on an ongoing basis. The great news is that all life issues like these and any others you might have are very healable using EFT. The big question is, how do you do it? Well, let's first talk about how not to do it. So for a lot of people who are first exposed to EFT on YouTube, they will watch a video that teaches the basic idea of how to do EFT, often called How to Do EFT, right? Well, you'll learn the basic recipe. And in the basic recipe, you're taught that you want to pick a phrase that will capture the essence of the problem, and then you will just use that phrase and tap in every point. And then people will try and do that for healing a life issue, and they'll discover that it doesn't work. So for instance, if you have a hard time with boundaries, you might think the phrase is, I have a hard time expressing boundaries. So even though I have a hard time expressing boundaries, I deeply, profoundly love and accept myself, all that. And these tap on all the points, hard time expressing boundaries, hard time expressing boundaries, blah, blah. So that almost never works for healing a life issue. I can't say never, ever, ever, but 99% of the time won't do it, because you have to go much deeper than that to heal a life issue. The key to understanding how to heal life issues with EFT is to first understand how life issues are created originally. You see, nobody's born with these life issues. So nobody's born having a hard time with boundaries, or born with low self-esteem, or born with anger issues of either type. It's something that it gets created within us due to having certain kinds of painful experiences growing up as a child. And then the outcome of these painful experiences is our life issue. So for example, having a hard time standing up for yourself and having good boundaries. So let's say a person with that life issue had a father or mother, either one, who was very domineering, very controlling, very powerful, and did not tolerate their child having any kind of boundary, does not tolerate their child saying no. So if a child tries to object to something, the parent might very angrily and powerfully say, don't you dare talk back to me. And just really power through, and, you will do what I tell you to do, and things like this. Some kind of, parents can, enforce what they're trying to get their children to do, but it depends on how they do it. So if you have like a sort of an angrily dominating, powerful parent, then the child will feel like saying no, which is what a boundary is. A boundary is saying no to something, right? That it's never okay for them to say no. And they feel very powerless, right? So that would be the root cause of the life issue of having a hard time saying no. So let's look at the other example of having low self-esteem. Well, what can cause that kind of thing? There's actually a bunch of different kind of things that can cause low self-esteem. So any one of these, if you have any one of these in your childhood, they can all result in having low self-esteem. So low self-esteem is basically meaning I feel bad about myself. I feel not good enough, not worthy, like there's something wrong with me, things like that. Well, where can that come from? Well, if you have very unloving parents, then as a young child, you will conclude that I must not be lovable, which is low self-esteem, right? If you have a parent who yells and screams all the time, that's not necessarily in this dominating way in the first example, but just, anytime they don't like what you do, they yell and scream at you. The underlying message of being screamed at in anger is you're not okay with me. Regardless of what you're being screamed at about, the message is you're not okay with me. And after a while, you start feeling like I must not be very okay, right? A third source could be a parent who's very critical. So there's some parents who are always looking for what's wrong rather than what's right, right? And so they'll be very quick to point out what's wrong and very slow, if at all, to praise what the child is doing well. So if the child is getting criticized all the time, that will accumulate over time until they feel like I must not be good enough. I can never do anything right, things like that. And they'll have low self-esteem, low self-confidence. Now let's pick the anger example. Now I want to give a counterexample. So let's say the person's life issue is not that they get scared by anger. I mean, the first two examples I gave would also likely result in somebody having another life issue that they get quickly, scared and intimidated if somebody gets angry. But let's say somebody grew up with an angry parent. There's two ways to respond to that. One is to sort of collapse and feel scared and controlled and dominated. But some people, when a parent behaves in a painful way, they will respond by becoming like the parent. So if you have a yelling, screaming parent, you might become a quick to anger, yelling, screaming person. Okay, so your life issue was created by becoming the same as your parent. All right, now let's do the fourth example with being blocked and being successful in your business. So this one is more complicated. It's not like a single thing, right? Now, any of those examples I gave you could result in somebody having a hard time with their business, right? If they got dominated and controlled by their parent, starting a business, you have to be powerful, right? And you're going to feel very disempowered in that environment. Same with low self-esteem, low self-confidence. Those kinds of experiences would also make it hard to be successful in business. But there's also more subtle ones. So for instance, let's say there's a certain identity in the family. Maybe it was sort of, people who had sort of modest careers, and the identity in the family is that this is who we are, right? This is what we do. This is who we are. We're not big people in the world. And starting a business, you have to kind of think big, right? But if you have this, family identity of we're not that, then that can be a block. So this would become a negative limiting belief that you have within yourself that makes it hard to really go for it. So anyway, the basic idea, though, is that whatever the life issue is, I gave some specific examples, but for any life issue, they were all caused by painful experiences in childhood that accumulated over time and resulted in our life issue, the issue that we're struggling with, the issue that is causing us, unhappiness in our life. Okay, so now that we have an understanding of how these life issues get created, here is the step-by-step process to heal a life issue. So step one is you pick the life issue you want to heal. All right. So again, we'll just use the examples that we've been using. I know that I have a really hard time with boundaries, and that's causing me a lot of problems in my relationships. I keep going along with things I don't want to go along with, so I want to heal this life issue. So step one is you pick the issue. Step two is you identify the root cause of that life issue. So in this case, I gave you the root cause, right? But if the issue that you're dealing with is not one of these examples I already gave you, step two is to identify the root cause of this life issue. How was this life issue created in your childhood? And I'll talk more about how to do that. That's step two in the process. Step three is to pick 3 to 5 example memories of that root cause. So again, remember the controlling, domineering parent, or the really, frequently critical parent. This kind of thing happened many, many times, hundreds of times even in your childhood. But you only need to pick a few example memories from when you were a child that sort of represents the whole hundreds of experiences. So that's the good news. You don't have to deal with all of them. Just a few example memories is all you need. Okay, then step 4 is to use EFT tapping to heal those 3 to 5 example memories. And again, we'll talk later on exactly how to do that. But if you do this well, if you heal 3 to 5 memories well, successfully, what you'll find is that the life issue will go away. Like if you check in on your life issue after each memory that you heal, you'll see that the intensity of the life issue will keep coming down. And once you finish the last of the 3 to 5, you never know at the beginning exactly how many it'll take. Plus, it depends on how good a job you do in healing each memory. But at some point, if you just keep healing example memories, you'll get to the point where the life issue is gone, right? That life issue won't be a problem for you at all anymore in your life. So now it's no longer hard to stand up for myself and express and maintain boundaries. Like all of a sudden, this thing that used to be super hard or even impossible for me, now no problem at all. Same with the low self-esteem. I no longer have low self-esteem. I now feel much more confident and good about myself. If I had this quick to anger issue, that anger issue is gone, right? So now I'm calm and relaxed and slow to anger. And when I do get angry, I don't yell and scream like my parent did, right? And if I was feeling held back in my business, now I can charge forward. So whatever the life issue is, and whatever your life issue is, if you follow these steps, these 4 steps, that life issue will go away, and your life will be that much better from having done that. Now, of this 4-step process, figuring out the root cause of a life issue is the hardest part. One of the reasons is that we all have blind spots when it comes to ourselves. Lots of times you can talk to a friend and they can be telling you about the thing they're struggling with, and then helping them figure it out is not so hard, because it's easier to have clarity about them, right? It's much harder to have clarity about ourselves. So that is the trickiest part. Now, I actually have another video that has a number of processes for how to do that. And let me give you the exact title of the video. It's called How to Uncover Childhood Memories for EFT Tapping, Beginner to Advanced. So this, even though the title doesn't sound exactly like this, the whole point of that video is how to figure out or get in touch with root cause memories or experiences from childhood that are the source of this life issue. It's what created the life issue. And it's a really good video for doing that. And it has an advanced process that even people who go through EFT practitioner training won't get, because it's not part of the normal training. It's part of a different training that I had before I became an EFT practitioner. So when you get to that step 2, you pick your life issue and then you try and figure out what is the root cause. I would encourage you to watch that video. There's a link to it in the description of this video that will teach you how to do that, how to get in touch with the root cause, memories, experiences from childhood. Now, if you do that, if you watch the video and you use all the processes in that video to get in touch with root cause memories and you're still not able to do that, then really the only thing left to do is to work with an EFT practitioner who can help you get in touch with these root causes so that you can heal them and heal the life issue. But the video I have is a really helpful way to get there. So that's what I encourage you to do. Now, there's one tricky thing here is that any given life issue can have more than one root cause. So, you can identify a root cause of your life issue, you can thoroughly heal it, and in this situation, what you'll notice is that the life issue is better, but it's still there. And when that happens, assuming you healed that first root cause really well, then what that means is that there's more than one root cause. And in fact, there can be 2, 3, even 4 root causes for one life issue. So basically what you want to do is, if you identify more than one root cause at the beginning, then awesome, just heal all the ones you identify. But if you only identify one, heal it thoroughly. If the life issue is better but not gone, don't get discouraged. Just go, aha, there must be more than one root cause. And then just go back to using the processes in that other video to get in touch with your second root cause. Because since you've addressed the first one, that one is not going to show up in the exploratory processes anymore. You'll get a second root cause will show up instead. Right? So then you just heal that one. And the same thing happens, that you heal it and the root cause is better still, but still not gone. Then you go, okay, there must be 3 root causes. You just keep doing this until it's done. Don't get discouraged. You will get there if you heal every root cause you get in touch with. The last step is to heal the 3 to 5 example memories of the root cause you identified for your life issue. So as I said before, you can have certain kinds of painful experiences that are all the same that happen hundreds of times. So there's an example of that parent who was critical, always pointing out what was wrong. They might have, over the span of a person's childhood, could have happened literally hundreds of times. But luckily, we don't have to heal hundreds of examples. That would be very impractical. Healing just 3 to 5 example memories is sufficient. And it sort of generalizes over all of the times that it happened, hundreds of times. The trick is just to heal those memories really well. Now, if you don't already know how to heal a painful memory using EFT, I have another video that teaches you how to do that. And again, let me use the exact title. It's called How to Heal a Painful Memory Using EFT Tapping, Basic and Advanced. So if you go through that video, it'll teach you all that you need to know on how to heal a painful memory from childhood. I'm not going to get into how to heal a painful memory in this video because that other video thoroughly describes it, and there's a link to that video in the description of this one. The awesome news is that if you get in touch with the life issues that have been causing you problems in your life and holding you back, and then you get in touch with the root causes of those life issues, and then you heal the example memories to heal those life issues, you will dramatically turn your life around and make your life so much better. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, it would really help me and others to find the video if you take a second to like it. I'd be very happy to answer any questions you might have in the comments below. On my website at EFTalive.com, I have a free ebook called Change Your Beliefs, Change Your Life with the Magic of EFT that shows you how to release the negative beliefs that have been holding you back in your life. There's a link to it in the description below. Subscribe to get my latest EFT videos to enhance your life. Keep tapping, clear your blocks, and you too can have the life you most desire.